So you can pause the video and take a look at this, get the lay of the land here. And once you're ready, restart it and we'll work through it together. Okay, let's check each answer choice here in order to find the one that matches the correct order in the graphic. That's what they're asking for when they say describe the process depicted in the graphic. So just keep that in mind. So let's start with answer choice A, and we can go through to make sure that it has all correct parts. If it doesn't, it's incorrect. So the first thing in A, it talks about moist flowing air. Now, if we check the graphic, yeah, that's where it's starting, right at the top in purple. So let's continue through A. After that, it talks about cooling and condensation, which again matches the graphic. So far, so good. Now let's continue. So note it's just a step-by-step process here. Then in answer choice A, it mentions precipitation and cloud development. Well, following the arrow in the process, in this graphic, that's exactly right. So in order, in answer choice A, it matches the order of the graphic. And that means what? Is this a correct choice? Did we find any problems? No, we didn't. So A, yes, that is correct. Okay, great. Now, let's look at another question. And this one's all about using the chemical reaction formula that we talked about a bit earlier. So here's question 2. Again, you can pause the video, take a look at this on your own, and then restart it when you're ready to work through with me. All right, now, when a GED Science test question asks you about a chemical reaction or equation, it's best to go through the equation just as we talked about before with answer choice A in question 1. You want to go through bit by bit and focus on what you know to come up with the correct answer. So we're going to do that. Now remember the reactants. Where do they come? And we're dealing with this chemical reaction here. So don't let that intimidate you. Just lean on what we talked about. What are the parts? So again, the reactants are where? They're before the arrow. So we have 2 reactants there. Remember, they're separated by that positive symbol that we talked about. Now, the simpler of these 2 reactants is the 6O2. And the O represents what? We've seen it in H2O. We saw it in CO2. Well, it's oxygen, right? So that's where we're going here. So oxygen is a reactant. And this means since oxygen is a reactant, that answer choice D must be incorrect. It's the only choice that doesn't mention oxygen at all. So we can get rid of D. Yes, so you can keep track of your options as you go. That's going to help you to move forward to the correct answer. Okay, so based on the answer choices, and another thing about answer choices, you can check them for commonalities. That helps you to spot what they're actually looking for. So based on those answers, you know that glucose is involved as the other reactant. So we don't even need to worry about what that means, the C6H12O6. That's the glucose. And that takes care of the reactants. Now, it's time to take a look at what comes after that yield arrow in this chemical equation. And what's that called again? Before we have the reactants, after that yield symbol, it's the products, right? So we have 3 products here. Now, remember, what's H2O again? What does it stand for? And again, what does CO2 stand for? We talked about that before. Well, as we discussed before, and in real life, H2O is water, and CO2 is carbon dioxide. So we can note that. And the other product is just a word, that's energy. Now, based on these products, let's eliminate the incorrect answer choices that remain and select the correct answer choice. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video to use the information on the slide to find the correct answer on your own. And after you've done so, play the video again to check your work with me. All right, so let's find the correct answer. To do that, we need to check each remaining choice's description of the products, right? The water, the carbon dioxide, and the energy. Now in choice A, water and carbon dioxide, they're not mentioned at all. So choice A is incorrect because it's missing important information. Goodbye. Let's move on to B. In choice B, water and carbon dioxide are mentioned, but energy isn't. So while choice B includes what was missing in choice A, it's still incorrect because it doesn't include energy in any way. Goodbye. And that leaves C as the correct answer. Yes, now choice C references water and carbon dioxide by stating that glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen. And that's accurate. The glucose and oxygen are reactants that are broken down into 3 products. Also, since energy is one of the products in the chemical equation, energy is released. So again, C is absolutely right. All right, perfect. Now, let's see how samples and surveys could be tested via the next question. So here's question 3. Take a few moments, pause the video, get the lay of the land here, restart it when you're ready to go through with me. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, in our answer choices to this question, the why or why not, also will Luke have reliable data? Question. There are 2 broad responses, right? It's either yes or no. So we can start there. And by starting there, let's compare who Luke surveyed to who Luke wants to learn about, right? So who's filling out the survey here? Well, it's the soccer students who use the machines. But who does Luke want to learn about? Is it those soccer students? Well, no, it's all the students at his school. So will Luke have reliable data if he surveyed only soccer students who use the machines? Well, no, that can't happen, right? So that's not going to be something we'll talk about in a moment, and something we've talked about before. I won't give it away yet. But since we know the correct broad answer is no, we can get rid of the yeses. Goodbye to C and D. Now, what's the problem with surveying only soccer students? So remember, we're dealing with samples. What do samples need to be, right? Well, they need to be representative, definitely. And that's the problem with surveying only soccer students. Soccer students who use the machines don't represent appropriately all the students at Luke's school. So which of the remaining choices matches that? Is that choice A or choice B? Well, look at choice B. It mentions it's not a random sample of the relevant population, which goes to what we talked about earlier for samples. They need to be both random and representative. So B is correct. Yes. So you can start to see how laying the foundation earlier in this session pays off in the actual questions. And this is something you'll continue to see as you practice moving through the test day. All right, now that we've tackled questions about samples, symbols, and formulas, also we tackled visual data,